was missed. So in this doubt clearing session, I received these pretty much, I mean, there are several questions, but most commonly it is hovering around few of the questions which I selected. So first and foremost, let's start with the first one. So in this session, I'm going to cover two things. We'll clear these doubts and we will see how to build this particular website. I know whatever the status is currently, we'll do that, and whatever that is left, we will cover up in the next video. So let's start with this question wherein it was asked that how do you create this API is throwing me error. So this API is actually created already. If you need to see if you have implemented in-memory database service correctly. So initially when we started this website, we added all our information, all this data and everything into a file called configuration file. And after that configuration file, we slowly and moved everything into in-memory database service, which is a functionality well within Angular, which allows us to quickly do the visualization. We can do the testing and everything and see how POC is working. Now, the next step would be to create an API online. So if you are getting this error, that simply means you need to check if you have implemented in-memory database service or not. Sure to check this step. This is very important to bring it to the status that we are right now. Next is from Mr. Benson. I thought you will be uploading one video each week. That's what I thought 2 weeks back. And trust me, I'm stressed too much and hardly find any time. Even during this lockdown period, could not do much, but I'll try to improve here. Okay, the next thing is property description does not exist. So now when I say property description, it is a generic error, which only means that we declared a variable something like this, which is a blank object, does not have any uh, properties. So that is why we are getting this error. See, this generally comes when we have, let me show you some example. Let's go to footer. So in the footer component, you see how I have declared the footer. Earlier we were declaring, when in the initial videos we declared everything like this, like footer equals to like this. So this is how we were doing the declaration, which was working for us. So it works generally when we started with version 6. It should not give problem, but at times once you start getting such problem, it's better you switch to the actual definition, much like here. So we declared footer, okay, as a complete object. There is a complete declaration that it should have copyright, should have developer link. Let's check another example. If we'll go to home module, no, not home module, home page component, and see, this is how we declared the header section. So likewise we should be checking in case you have anything missing and declared otherwise, be sure to correct that. All right. Okay, coming on next we have okay, HTTP localhost 4200 API user sign up 404 not found. So API user sign up, now this sign up is again part of in-memory database service. So let me just go to that in-memory database service, go to source, in-memory database service. Okay, here you have a create DB function. We created a get token function, then get request function, get articles, and similar to this we created a custom post request. So this is the default post request, and we marked it like if the ID part shows login, then we will follow this section, and in case it uses sign up. Alsif is sign up, then console.login from sign up. Okay, so as of now it does not allow you to create any records because we are just signing up, we are not adding any users. Okay, we have not added that functionality yet, but we will be doing that functionality, not here, but we will allow it to create a new user so that we can log in with that new user account while we do it in the next video. We can do a mock implementation here in in-memory database as well for the time being, but I think it will be better if we do it in database. And how am I going to do it in database? We'll discuss upon that as well. I know it's already delayed. In fact, it's too much delayed to come up with that video, but I'm going to do it anyway. So this is done because this does not exist. That is why it was showing. Just sure to check up if you have sign up section here in in-memory database service. Next is error, type error cannot read property ID of undefined, which is much similar to this error, wherein you do not have the property ID defined for the component. Okay, it was reported in post.component. Let's see our post.component. So under blog, we'll go to post blog. Okay. Okay. Post.component. Okay, wait, what is it? Post.component. I have this error in post.component. Okay, we don't have post.component, but we do have an article and post blog. So let's see the ID part. Okay, we have post.id. Okay, so this refers to a router link post.id, wherein post.title. So ideally in this component declaration we have something which is called post. So let's see where is this post variable coming from. So this is coming from a class called post, and this resides just a step above here. So this is how we declared the class post with the constructor. Just sure to check if you have this file available. If you don't have, just create one, include that in your component, and you'll have all the required fields. Okay, this is done. And finally, the mail function failed to connect to mail server. Port 25 cannot resolve all parameters of headers. Okay, let me explain this section first. Okay, now we have our application working on the development server. Let me show you. So this is our development server, localhost 4200 home. Okay, this is our development server, which is part of ngserve command. So when we do this command ngserve, so we just made a change in compiling, so it will recompile and see. So ngserve is what we are running. So this starts our development server. Now there is another server locally installed through XAMPP, which I'm using. That's an Apache web server, which along with MySQL and Mercury. I'll explain about Mercury, and I do remember that I did explain about Mercury earlier. Mercury is a small email server which you can use to develop some functionality around mail function. So we are doing it to develop our API and to emulate on how an actual email can be sent. So we can do it on Mercury server. That means your actual application will too be able to send an email. So now we have two servers, one to run our application and another server to host our API. Where is this API? Let me show you. So okay, wait, we'll go to htdoc. Here is our API. So within XAMPP, the root folder is htdocs. So in this htdocs folder, I created a folder again called API. Within that API, this is our contact.php. Here is this file. So here is the content of this file, wherein I have mentioned three headers: allow origin, access control allow origin, content type, and the allow headers. Okay, so it takes input from the post, which is sent to this file, then decodes that, separates the variables, and using this template it prepares that message, and that message gets converted and sent to the email ID, specified email ID, using this mail function. Okay, done. So by default I have sent localhost as Jagmohan at localhost. So now if you're getting this error with mail function, that means you need to check where is this contact.php available or hosted. Why am I showing it on separate servers? Because we cannot use development server for hosting the API. It can work, but again it has to be a different server. So in practical scenario, what happens is that we have a application server on which we host our front end, our application, and then logically it sends a request to some API, fetches the data, and starts showing on that uh, app. So that's the logic. So you are looking at one API which we are using for contacting, sending in a message, and the another API is for our database function, which we have not yet plugged in. So what am I using? I am using this ready-made CRUD function API, PHP CRUD API, and created by a very well-known developer. So I found it easy and something that we can use for our demonstration. So we'll do that. Okay, but not yet plugged in. So understood. Now I hope it's understood that this is a different API, and whatever confusion you might have had in the previous video, so just be sure that this API is a separate thing. It is hosted on Apache server, and we are running our development server using ngserve. So now let's come to build. Okay, build production command. So in order to use build production command, okay, what I have done is come to this section of angular.json file, build section. Now if you go to build section, you will find there is an output path. So now what we want to do is we want to export our application okay, as a production application and host it on the local XAMPP Apache server. Alright, so that's what we want to do. So I have directly changed the address, and if you notice, it is not backslash, which is generally there, which we use in Windows. Like if you see here these backslashes, instead it is forward slash. So see, XAMPP complete path, but instead of backslash it is forward slash. So what would happen is when I run this build command, it will export this application to this particular folder. Okay, let's try that. So now what we have to do is to build, we just have to run this command. Okay, ng build hyphen minus production. So I'm going to do this. It's going to take a little bit of time, so let's wait. So when we do production, it compresses deeply, and what the output that will get is very small in size. At the same time, all the files are minified, everything is simple, but still we'll have to do much. So now we have this exported. Let's see if we open that file. So you see This is the development server. In the next tab, we'll try to open the localhost website because our website got pasted here. So, okay, let's proceed to localhost unsafe. Now, do we see anything? Nothing. Any idea? Do you know the reason why? Let me tell you. So, going back to our code, if you see, let's go to index.html. Where is our index.html? Source and index. Yes. You see, is in this index file, the base URL is at root. So if I would have copied the entire content of the application to the root folder, which is here, htdocs, if I would have copied everything here under this, it would have worked normally with no issues. But I copied it in a subfolder here. So here is the files which were exported. You see the date. So everything is here. So how to do this? Simple. Go to index.html, open this file in any of the text editor. I'll do it in Notepad++. Let's see. And here you change the base URL to website and / save. Done. Let's see. Now if you are able to reload the page, let's refresh. Seems to load now. Yes, it has loaded. So now we have our application hosted in an Apache web server just like any other website, and it is live and functional. And you can see every content, everything is getting loaded like it should be, but it is still not connected to the backend, not to any web API, backend API, though everything is there routed properly. Now another functionality that we do not have in this website is, let's say you someone bookmarks this URL, localhost website gallery. So if they try to open this URL again, it won't work because there is no file called gallery. Correct? That's not an actual file. That's just a root. Okay. So while we are still able to access all these links, these are all getting routed properly while we are using this application. Let's try another one. Services. Nope. Okay. Still not working. Right? So do you think what could be the reason? Do you know what it could be the reason? If I type home, would that work? No, that is also not working. I have to type like this and then start all over again. But let's see what the documentation says. So we'll go to the documentation and specifically the deployment section and see what does it say. So in the deployment section under development workflow, if we see for Apache, so for Apache server, so there are some simple description given for other servers as well, but we'll stick to Apache. See, there is a technique mentioned. So it says that you have to start the rewrite engine, and so if an existing asset or directory is requested, you go directly to that root to that URL file or directory, and in case the resource does not exist, just simply redirect to index.html. So let's try this. Okay, let's create a .htaccess file and see if it is working. So copy con .htaccess. Okay, this is the file name we need. I cannot write such a file name directly. It's good that it's easy to create through command prompt. and simply copy Control V, Control Z, and enter. So now we have a file called .htaccess created in this folder. Let's see. Do we have? Yes, we have this file. Let's see if our website is now behaving properly, but I will have to restart my server. So I'll have to stop here and start. It generally works even without restart, but just to see, should work. So now I'm clicking on services, galleries, everything is working. Now let's type about. No, it is still not working. Okay, let's go to this file, open this in the editor. So this is how it looks like. Somehow I believe that the slash should not be there, though it is there mentioned in every website I could find, but we are directly in that folder. We do not have to start a root. I mean, we should not be considering any root. Okay, we should be able to find this file in that folder. So let's try this change and see if it works for us. I am just going to refresh. Yes, it works. Let me just try changing it to services. Yes, now it is in services tab, gallery. Yes, it's working. So it's working for us now. Hmm? Mm -mm 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 -mm. We have this log function. Oh, contact function also I can demonstrate. Why not? So let's do this. Okay. Okay, Jackmohan at localhost. Let's type. This is my message. So now what this would do, I'll show you with the code. I am not creating the send message as yet. So let me show you. What happens is, let's go to the code. In the code, when I hit the send button, that is the send button inside the contact. Where is the contact? Yes, contact us. So here, send message function calls this dot contact service dot send message. So it is calling the contact service. Contact service nothing but the configuration service, private contact service, config service. Okay, so let's go to config service from config.service. Okay, config service here. So here we have all the services. In the URL, I have mentioned API URL, take it from environment file, email URL, take it from environment file, config defined as configuration. So it is taking the URL from the environment dot email URL. So let's find this environment file. Where is this environment file? Environment file resides here. Production. We use the production one. You can look at this. So even in the production, it's just that it mentions true, and in general, also it shows email URL is https localhost API contact.php. So this is hosted on the XAMPP server. I showed that to you already. So here is the file. So what we are going to do is we are going to send a request from from our application to contact.php and see if it is working. But let me tell you, it has to be two different servers, or we should be using a proxy. So if I try to send it from here, let's say from Apache, and let's see, I am turning on the tools and let's go to the console and see if it is going to give an error. It could not load some resources, we can ignore that. So let's send message. So it's showing first name, true. So ideally I should have received this message. Let's see. So what I have done is I have started this Mercury email server which is residing locally. Let me quickly show you how it works. So when we go to admin, we don't have to touch anything. It's just that we'll go to Windows, configuration, no configuration, manage local users. So in the local users, if you see, I have created a new user. So there is an admin, there is Jack Mohan, and then new user, test user. And let me show you what it is. So there is an email address with the password. It is jackmohan@localhost, and I have configured that in Thunderbird. Let me open Thunderbird. Mozilla Thunderbird. So it has started finally. Okay, let's see if we have new email. Yes, there is an email from Jagmohan Gupta. My email. Okay, this is what I was testing. Yes, this is the message we just now received. This is my message from Apache. So now our API is hosted on Apache server. Okay, our website is hosted on Apache server, and we were able to get this message. I can still use this same if I am running through development server and my API is hosted on my local server. So these are two different servers. Okay, let's see if it works from here. So first name, last name, my email at u.com. Okay, testing message from ng server, send message. What do you think? Should work? Let's see. So we have not received any email as yet. Let's see if there was some error. Okay, F12. Yes, seems to be some error. Okay, yes. It shows that certification authority is invalid because we are using the local certificate and this might not be matching. That's why it's giving this error. But let's try changing it to non-HTTP. So we'll go to code just to see. Okay, I am making it non-HTTP, saving it here, Control S, and let this compile again. Okay, it's compiled successfully or yet to compile. Okay, I don't think it's making any difference to it. So let's see. Let's try contact again. Click here, contact us. Uh, uh, my email. This is my second message. No, it still shows the same error. Or maybe let's stop and recompile. Okay, it's compiled successfully. Let me refresh. Okay, let's try this form again. My email. This is my message to you from ng server. Okay, so now it went out successfully. Okay, let's see. We receive. Yes, we received this now. So now what we understand is that it might conflict in case the server is like the certificate has some error. So while we tried earlier, both were there on the Apache server and it worked well for us. Now we had different servers, but both were showing same thing. I mean, they had the same name. So might have conflicted. I'm not sure, but we'll explore this for sure that it will also check the certificate. So keeping this at this point, we have this application well updated to Angular 9, and I'm going to revert it back to HTTPS in my code so that I'll fix that for HTTPS. We'll see how we can. But so we have everything ready to Angular CLI 9 already, and there was a request coming in to do this afresh with Angular 9. So that's a good step we can try. I'll think about it and I'll try posting some videos around it. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching this video. Stay connected, stay blessed, stay safe. Thank you so much.